All right, everyone, welcome back to our stream here for XP League Brookfield. This is week one of our spring Fortnite Silver team. We've got one new player joining the team. We've got three returning players from last season, one of them from our Magic team moving over. And so we've got four strong here on our Dragons with a good, so it's nice. It's the first time we've had a little bit of a bench to be able to help out with subs and weeks the kids can't show up. We also have some rule changes coming into place for this week. We've had a Fortnite rule set. One of the big ones that's going to be popular with the kids, and maybe you can see it already on the screen, is that you can now use custom skins, which is something we haven't allowed in the past. Just just to try to keep it competitive. It's also something that we use to make sure that kids couldn't identify each other and potentially do some illegal teaming off by coordinating offline. And but also that you can't engage anyone until after the first zone closes. So once zone two starts and the storm starts coming in, then you can start engaging other teams. So you could literally be standing and facing each other, but until that clock strikes zero and the next zone starts, you can't actually engage. So that will be with the silver being more of the developmental beginner, not necessarily beginner, but more developmental league rather than gold, which is hyper competitive. We want to give all our players a chance to get on the ground and get a little bit of loot before we get things started. So, but then conversely, to keep matches from slowing down, we have turned on Storm Surge. So for those of you that don't know, Storm Surge is a feature where if you're not down to a certain number of players by the time you get into certain storm levels or zone levels, all the players will start to take damage inversely to the amount of damage that they've caused themselves until there's only a set number of players left in the match. So for example, you get to zone three. If there's more than 70 players left in the match, the game will just start applying damage every 5 seconds until you get to 70 players left. And then the same thing happens at zone 5 for 50 players. And then the same thing happens again at zone 7 until you're down to 30 players. So that will help move things along. That will also help counter some teams that just kind of like to hide in the bush and then go for second place or first place, depending on if they're able to pick off the final remaining team. So if you attempt to do that and you don't cause any damage, the likelihood of you surviving the storm surge is significantly lower, even if you're well equipped with food or health kits or anything like that to try to get through it. So overall, we are expecting to have over 90 players in this match today. We are currently sitting at, let's take a look in here. We're currently looking at 73, so we're still trying to bring in more players. There's probably still about, assuming everybody came, sometimes teams aren't able to make it or whatever the case may be, but I believe there are 32 or 33 teams in this season, so that would be 96 to 99 players. Again, we don't always have full teams able to join, just because scheduling, things like that, or keep it getting kicked at the last minute right as the match is about to start. So we'll see. But we're currently sitting at 76. Our teams look like we're all queued up and waiting to go. Now the trick is to try to get the kids to be patient and not touch anything, so we can actually get everybody in. And we'll see. Hopefully, we'll get started shortly. We usually try to aim for starting by 10 after the hour, accounting for some technical issues. So we did have to reset the creator code here already once to be able to get people to join the match. So that delayed us a little bit. Now we're just giving a little bit more time for teams to join. We coordinate all of this over Discord with a huge Discord coaches channel that everybody can join. And I'm actually listening into in one of my ears while I'm doing the streamcast. So they just announced they're going to give it a few more minutes, given that this is week one, but reminding everybody that we do want to be in place to be able to kick this off at right at 10 after the hour. So next week, hopefully, we'll be starting to tighten things up and be able to get in. It's it's just one of those things that everybody lives with. We've been the team here in Brookfield a few times that have held things up just because we've had some technical challenges right at the end, and had to beg for a little bit more time to get everybody back in. So that's the big key is just once we get you in the queue, is try to coach the kids to just kind of leave things alone so you don't actually hit the cancel button or have a chance where you get kicked out of the queue right before we start the match. So, all right, once again, we are still sitting strong at 76. So I'm not hearing anything on the channel about teams not being able to join in. So hopefully we'll be starting really soon. And I'm going to go on mute here until we're ready to get started. Check back shortly. All right, so we've been given the 1 minute warning here for folks to resolve any issues. I did see we went down to 75 from 78, so there's probably a team trying to get back in They kind of went around the horn and asked if there was any issues. Looked like there might have been one or two a few minutes ago. Hopefully those get resolved quickly, or they'll be starting the match, well, basically anyway. Oh, then we just went down to 72. So this is the the downside of managing a nationwide Fortnite Battle Royale, is you have these connection issues sometimes. Now we're back up to 75. I have no idea if that's that other team that just requeued, or if that's the team that's been trying to get in. But we should be less than a minute away. All right. They just let us know that we're going to start the match. So this is week 1. New rule set. Well, coach is probably going to be in these guys' ears here just to make sure they understand the new rules, where skins are now allowed. But more importantly, you just cannot engage an opponent until we get to that second zone. So that's going to be the big difference here for these guys. Now, for our returning players, we'll hopefully have a little bit more. Well, for our new player, he'll have an easier time understanding, because it's all the rules have always been. But for some of our returning players, we're going to have to make sure we just kind of keep an eye on them. So, again, unlike Gold, where they have a designated landing spot this season, for our Silver team, these guys can drop anywhere that they want. And let's see, these guys are picking someplace, looks on the edge of the winter biome side. And they're off the bus, so they're heading in now. One of the things, this is one of our newer teams. These guys, one of the things we look for is how well these guys stick together, how well they coordinate once they get on the ground. Now, of course, they can relax a little bit knowing that no one's going to be able to engage with them right away, but we see guys marking on different sides of the map. We've got one player already down on the ground. I hope they're not right by a tent, which they cannot use, but there are some crates there. So now we got the whole team on the ground. So in your upper left corner, we have Audric. In your upper right, we've got Jack the Slayer, and in the bottom, we have our new player, Strong Kiwi 74. So good luck to these guys. Looks like they did land in a quiet spot. I haven't seen anybody else on the ground in this area. This is there's lots of loot in this area, so they should have plenty of things to pick from. What we want to see these guys do is just grab lots of stuff, right? It's important to grab lots of mats, just short for materials, so that as you get to the end of the game, when you need to be able to build, protect yourself, and last a little bit longer and provide you and your teammates some cover, that you don't run out of some critical materials. So, and these guys, as you can see, there are some NPCs here, so they can. The rule set does allow you to engage and interact with NPCs during the first zone. I'm just going to peek in here and see how close we're going. We are at about 90 seconds for the end. We just heard our first report of a kid breaking the rule for engaging another team. And it sounds like it might have been somewhat incidental. So the person at home office who starts the match, you have to actually be in the match to participate. So what they do is usually try to run someplace to a quiet spot on the map and either jump off a cliff or blow up a car or something like that. And they just said that they were pickaxing a car, and a kid ran right up to him and stood right next to him right as the car blew, and there might have been some collateral damage. So I guess lesson learned, stay away from the home office player that only exists to start the match. that's really the case. Okay, I'm getting a little bit of lag here. Hopefully the stream is coming through. Okay, again, these guys got plenty of time to loot. Looks like we've got some good weapons here, a couple of legendaries. The idea here is you want to see people sharing the shields and make sure the full team gets shielded up. We've got two of our players look like they're at full shield. Strong Kiwi 74 just got a little bit. Hopefully we'll see a little bit more coming in. Checking in on Audric. So looks like we entered the match with 72 players, and we are now, I believe, if somebody would, I can't see it from here, but if we open the, yep, I think we're now open and able to engage. And it looks like we've got a player down already. And I don't see an elim for us, so I'm not sure. I was looking at the other screen, so I don't think there's anything that we got credit for. But we should be free to engage now, I believe. So we should be back to what would have been our normal rule set now. So it looks like these guys are right on the edge of the zone. So they shouldn't have to move much for this storm. Okay, we're getting a correction here that we are still in the first zone and we cannot engage just yet. So in about 2 minutes left, these guys will be able to start engaging with each other. So, and they can always check that. I can't check that on the stream, but they can always check that by opening up the map, and you can see what zones are in by looking in the upper left corner of the screen. So that's something that we'll have to coach these guys to do as well, just in case there's any concern. These guys look like they've left that cavern. Now they're on the move. They did pick up a bounty, and they're going to probably try to head that direction to see if they can go get that player. That's the yellow spot, and you usually get gives you kind of like a wide area on the map of where they might be. See if these guys do a decent job of sticking together. So far, they're getting a little bit stretched out. Keep going. Really want to see. Somebody just got caught up in that shaft, so now they're stretching out a little bit more. There we go. So those guys just found some really good loot. That was definitely worth the effort. Hopefully, if they stick together with those splashes, they can get. See, and this is, there we go. So now everybody's fully shielded up. That's good use of sharing resources. All right, we are 10 seconds away. 9 seconds. These guys are going to be able to start engaging here very quickly. And 2, 1. Okay, the Storm Eye is in, and just like that, we're already taking some shots. Okay, just keeping an eye on somebody that's trying to get these guys to do a build over there. They built themselves a little bit of high ground there to be able to shoot down. I don't know, they did cause a little bit of damage, but I don't know if they've got a whole lot down there. All right. There we go. Okay, got a sniper rifle coming to play. So we've got shots coming in down by that river. Lots of build down there. We've got some good shots, and bounty failed. Oh, the time expired. That's okay. It doesn't really matter much for these matches, but it does help you find one of your opposing teammates or opposing teams to engage. So All right, these guys have the high ground, but they are out. No, there we go. Okay, now we're building a little bit very smartly. You want to try to take advantage of the mats that you've collected and do some builds. Right? You don't want to unnecessarily take damage early in a round when you could be the team, from cover, peeking and pouring down some fire. So we haven't taken much damage other than Jack the Slayer there in your upper right. He's been trying to push up a little bit. Looks like somebody started a little bit of a fire there. Okay, he's been able to get some splashing and replenish his shields. Try to find a teammate there to share those if you can. Lots of firing, but no knocks or eliminations just yet. Oof. Okay, splashing, replenishing everybody's shields. Good job. Looks like strong Kiwi 74 was not up there to take advantage of that, but that happens sometimes. Still looking for that first knock and elimination. I'm not sure where that other squad went. Looks like they just have to move because of storm, so they got to give it up. But if they can beat them to the storm, that's a great strategy. We just there you go, get these guys off in the river. Try to take some shots, slow them down, try to beat them to the zone, and then force them to have to keep moving and have to make some difficult decisions. There we go. All right, good job. Dragon's got to watch this storm. I know it's still early, but and we've got Jack the Slayer has been knocked. We still have strong Kiwi 74 and Audric. Okay, and there we go. We placed 21st. Good job, not bad. Good job chasing. Didn't get a knock though, so this will be worth 1 point. No, we did get one elimination there at the end. That's good. So one elimination, so that'll be worth a point as well. So a couple of points to start off the season. Not bad for these guys, right? So if you think about last season when we first started off, it took them a while to get that first elimination. So these guys are starting to build up their confidence, looking to incorporate their new teammate. We're going to put that back on mute. And so now, going out, not one of the earliest teams, but with quite a bit to go, we'll go on mute here. We'll need to wait until they reopen the next queue, and then we'll queue up again. We had somewhere in the 70-plus team range, so there was still quite a few players left. If we finished 23rd, still quite a few, more than half the players left in the match, so we've got a little bit of ways to go. So we'll have a little bit of break. The coach will have an opportunity to provide some nice coaching tips to these guys. Get them ready. We'll be moving in. We have, like I said, we have a 4-person team this time, so we'll be swapping in our player that was on the bench for the first round. That's Master Warrior 11. We'll be jumping in, and then we'll come back when we get a little bit closer, and we'll kick off round 2. All right, welcome back. We should be starting up round number 2 here shortly. Round 1 finished about a minute or two ago. We've got, looks like 61 players in the queue. I think we had 72 or 75 um, all said and done after that first match for that first round. So we should be expecting pretty much the same number unless somebody wasn't able to get in that first round. We're just waiting to queue up for the second one. So not a bad start for our Brookfield Dragons here. We got an elimination and I think like 3 knocks, but we just didn't win the shootout against that other team, that other trio, so we weren't able to finish those off. So, but that's some really good improvement already from last season. So we're off to a pretty good start, and I have no doubt that we'll start to see our placements kind of creep up a little bit. So this was the first round with the new rule set, so everybody's still getting a little bit comfortable. But as you can see on the screen, we're allowed to have custom skins on, so the kids are loving that. I imagine we'll see some more kids break some of those out in the future. But you can no longer use tents. So tents are starting to become a problem where everybody, if you took the time to load up a tent before the start of a season, you could bring in all sorts of mythics and things like that into each match, creating a pretty big advantage. So we just said, look, you can't use tents, and the penalties for that are pretty big. You can lose your points for the week. You could potentially get suspended for the following week. So we definitely are coaching pretty hard against that. And then, of course, the zones where you can't engage with another team until the end of that second zone. So that's those are the pretty big changes that we have in place for this season. So along with the storm surge, which we talked about at the beginning of the stream, where if there's not enough action going on, the game will start to apply damage to the teams that are not, or the players that are not causing a lot of damage, until we get down to a set number of players remaining in the match, depending on which zone we're currently in at that time. So it'd be interesting to see as we do a recap here if the storm actually even came into play at some point. We didn't make it far enough in to really know if that was going to start to cause us any damage, but it'll be interesting to see how much that has an impact on the season. But it'll definitely encourage kids to play a little bit more aggressive going forward. You don't think you have to get too crazy aggressive, but it will punish you if you want to be that team that hides in the bush and then either takes first or second, depending on whether or not they can knock off the other team that's left standing. So we won't have as much of that. So you will have to move around. You will have to try to stay, in more than just get into the circles. You are going to need to engage with the other teams. So, which is kind of what the game is all about. So that's important. There you go. We're at 87. So we did have more teams that were having trouble getting in last time. Sometimes that's just kids showing up late. Sometimes it's technical issues. So we're heading out to Spawner Island now. I think they had a pretty good plan dropping in last time. It's going to be a little bit more crowded there on the island this time around. So somebody else might have the idea of picking the same location. We'll just have to see. So we're just waiting for all the players to get in here, and we'll get things started shortly. Once again, it's a good round, first time around. It's week 1 of the season. Everybody's gonna need a little bit of time here acclimating to the new rule set. But we're already seeing a pretty good response from the kids. Only heard a little bit of chatter, and even some sportsmanship where one team engaged another team and got a knock, and then quickly realized that was a mistake, so they allowed that team to revive, and so that's a good showing of sportsmanship. Those are all coaching teachable moments that we look for. All right, we're off the bus and moving our way down. We did have somebody get knocked in that time, but that was engaging against one of the non-playable characters within the game. So that is a risk if you engage with some of them to try to get some more loot, that they could knock you. So, all right, looks like we are heading back to the same spot here, right on the edge of the winter snow biome. I guess it was good to us last time. It was a little bit of a quiet place. Hopefully it'll be good for us again. Looks like I can see some other players this time in the area. I don't think they're teammates, so we'll have to watch for that. Once again, we can't engage them, but it does mean that we might have to share some space and be aware of where they are once the dinner bell rings and we can start engaging. So we're on the ground already starting to loot. Try to get some interaction with these NPCs to give us even more opportunity for loot. What we do want to watch for is to see if these guys remember to grab materials as they go. All right, so we already got a bounty. That'll help us identify another player on the map. Now we're going to take out the NPC here. Dropped a nice shotgun for us, so we're off to a good start. We want to see these guys sharing loot. We want to see these guys grabbing materials, grabbing pads, anything that they might need as they get towards the end game and have just a little bit more chance of survivability. You don't want to run out of those things when you could have been spending a lot of time grabbing them early in the match. So like right now, we're spending a lot of time flying around in the turbine rather than collecting some materials. So hopefully we've got to regain our focus, try to get back on track. There we go. Okay, keep grabbing as much as we can get our hands on. Still engaging more NPCs. Try to get their loot. Hopefully don't knock us this time. There we go. Didn't damage us too bad. I don't know. It didn't look like that might not have been the best loot, but still better than nothing. Plenty of rares in here. So these guys are getting some good kit. Looks like we've got some. There we go. We can splash. It's important to try to make sure the team gets together here and everybody can take advantage of some of these shared resources as they come. And sometimes teams can get some of the players can get a little bit distracted and miss out. But it looks like in this case, everybody's getting as much as they can. And these guys should be, it's like they're just about to be fully shielded. There you go. All right. So they're in a great shape here for when the shooting can actually start. So still a little surprised that nobody else came to this spot. And that might be just because other teams have been coached to be a little, coaching their players to be a little bit more conservative in their landing spot. This was, of course, a popular place late last season when it was added. Just trying to look. 37 seconds left here in this part. And then I believe we have to wait for that first zone to finish. So, and they did a good job in last time on the coaching channel to let everybody know that yes, you can now engage. Hopefully they'll do the same thing this time again, just to make sure the coaches are all on the same page and when we can actually start going after each other's teams. So they are not in the circle, as you can see by the white line up there on that mini map. So I don't know how far they've got to go, but they are going to have to think about relocating here sooner than later to make sure that they're in that next circle and in a good spot once the fighting does start. So, all right, so now we are in that next zone. So they're going to have to, the storm will start moving at the end of this one. So they're going to need to be on the move here. They don't have a long way to go. You saw a quick peek of the map there for Jack the Destroyer brought up. But it's important to start moving in those directions so you can try to get in the circle and not have to be, you don't really want to be behind the 8-ball when it comes to the circle, because then you start having to make compromising decisions where you can get pinned between the storm and an opposing team. So you want to make sure that you keep an eye on that storm and where those circles and where those new zones are coming in, and then you can take that to your advantage. And it's a huge advantage to being the team that gets there first and being in a position to take advantage of the stragglers who have to rush in to avoid the storm. It might have already taken some damage from it, especially from some of those later storms that start to hurt a little bit. All right, we're on the move once again. X marks the spot. We got some pretty good loot from this last time. Hopefully it'll be the same case for us this time. Harder to tell with everything sliding down the hill, a little bit pixelated, but we do have some legendary, legendary MK7. That's always awesome. My favorite weapon in the game. I think we're pretty well staying together. I can't tell if Jack the Destroyer's... Oh, okay, there you go. He's just grabbing the vehicle. Heading back towards the squad. Going to try to pick through from what's left. Looks like there's still a legendary form there. That's great. They've got some splashers, so they can... looks like only one of their teammates is missing a little bit of shield, but they're pretty good shape here to get things started. I'm going to zoom in here on what looks like the clearest screen just to see where we're at. 1 minute, about a minute 20 left. Again, 83 players in this match. And see if these guys are going to decide where to go next. They are in the zone comfortably. They're not on any high ground or anything. Just got informed that one of the teams was engaging. So again, this is week 1. We know there's going to be some learning and some confusion about when you can and cannot engage with other teammates, but it is when this so when they flash the maps up, you can kind of see up in the corner. Have them a little bit quick so you can see, but it needs to be zone 2 before you can engage. So that's something I'm sure we're going to reinforce. So yeah, we're just hearing from the coach's channel that 2 of the other teams did get into a fight prematurely. We are on the verge here. Looks like about 15 seconds before we can open up and start engaging other opponents. We've got our team on the move here, moving through these buildings. I couldn't tell if that was one of us jumping up and down way off in the distance or not. Okay, and we are free to engage for the rest of the match. So these guys are in good. They're by tilted towers. They're just inside the circle once again. I can't tell. It looks like they're trying to peek at somebody over there. So somebody is. They're not alone here. There was somebody jumping up and down over there. Yeah, there they go, running across behind. Looks like they got a couple of shots. And try to see if they can open up this corner. Kind of divide up a little bit and take it from different directions. See if they can't flank and cut them off. There you go. Oh, it almost worked. That tree was in the way. All right. See if we can get a shot. Now it looks like we got a couple of shots in on them. Still. There we go. Is that the? Oh, we're really pixelating here. Unfortunately, I think we lost the stream. All right, we will focus on Master or Warrior 11 here, and hopefully we get these other 2 streams back. Looks like we got 1 of them, 2 of them back. Quickly, okay, a little bit of a blurb. Looks like Master Warrior 11 is engaging. Lots of building going on. This is an important part about grabbing materials, so you can make sure. It looks like we've got a player down right now. So this is still a pretty hot fight. We still have 2 of our guys up. I have not been able to get a good view of. I know we've caused a lot of damage here. We've got 2 of our guys down now. We got a. Oh, and they got us. All right. So placed 22nd. So about 2 roughly the same finishes. We did get a couple of assists there. I don't know. Again, we're trying to coach these guys to put their summary up on the board so we can confirm scores at the end. As you can see, we got 1 of them to do it, but not the other 2. So that's something we'll keep working on. So 22nd place finish, not too bad. So certainly not the first one out, but a little bit of an early exit. Starting to see some improvement from these guys. We'll continue to coach them up. It looks like they found their landing spot. We'll have to continue. We'll have to check to see if that continues to be a quiet spot here for the rest of the season, but not a bad start for these guys. So again, we got a new team coming together. and we got a long season to go. So we look forward to watching these guys grow and develop over the next few weeks. So that's going to do it for our Fortnite stream. We're going to have Valorant here turning around. We're going to have Valorant starting very quickly. Our match is supposed to be at 3, but that's only 2 minutes away, and we're probably going to need a few more minutes to just get everything turned over. But we'll be back here on our challenge for our very first live Valorant stream. This was our first team for Valorant that we've had here at Brookfield, and it's only the second season of Valorant at XP League. So it's a lot of fun if you haven't tried out that game, but we'll talk about that more on that stream. So we'll be checking back in shortly. And until then, same time next week for Fortnite, 2 o'clock as always. And we'll be looking